We're gonna cover the best Olympic weightlifting variations that you can utilize to get an explosive upper body, and we're gonna start right now. What's up, everybody? It's Dane Miller from GarageStrength.com, and if this is your first time to the channel and you're interested in becoming an explosive freak, you wanna learn how to get stronger, how to react a little bit faster, make sure that you like, you subscribe, and you ring that notification bell so we can help you hit some PRs. So a lot of athletes have traditionally been trained in the world of powerlifting, right? So they've spent a lot of time doing bench presses and learning how to move a lot of weight. But one of the big downfalls behind the world of powerlifting is that sometimes they don't do the best job in training the most explosive athletes. And fortunately, we've spent a ton of time here developing world-class discus throwers, world-class shot putters, and world-class Olympic weightlifters. We're an Olympic weightlifting gym that also specializes in Olympic weightlifting utilized for sports performance. And so by training throwers, we've been able to see how the most explosive athletes can be developed through variations, through different Olympic weightlifting variations. And it's important right away that we understand, all right, if we're talking about Olympic weightlifting, what are those movements gonna be? It's gonna be a clean, it's gonna be a snatch, it's gonna be a jerk, but it's also gonna be reflexive Olympic lifts. So anything like a dumbbell drop to a box or anything along those lines. But then also, we're gonna be talking about actual variations. We're gonna be talking about a power snatch, a muscle snatch, a push press, a jerk, a power jerk, off of the boxes. Anything along these lines can still be considered Olympic weightlifting movements. And so now when we start to see that all these movements are done very rapidly, they're done through a long plane of acceleration, and they also require a ton of coordination, coaches can start to see that the speed can really be different. We can see how these Olympic weightlifting variations can improve an athlete's explosiveness and also lead to greater strength gains because they learn how to recruit a little bit more effectively. So now we're gonna go into those top 4 Olympic weightlifting variations to help you get an explosive upper body. Coming at that number 4 spot, we've got the behind the neck jerk. And I would recommend utilizing the behind the neck jerk from the boxes and utilize the behind the neck power jerk. You can utilize the behind the neck split jerk. But one of the reasons why I love this movement is because it requires your trunk to be extremely tense. It requires your upper back to be extremely tight. And what that does, how that transfers over to your explosive upper body is it teaches your upper back how to retract your scaps. You drive very quickly, and when you get into that split position, now your triceps, your lats, your shoulders, your traps, everything works together to stabilize that weight overhead. And so when you're stabilizing that weight overhead, you might have an upwards of 500 plus pounds. And when we've had discus throwers behind the neck jerk 500 pounds, what ends up happening later on is they start to learn how to manipulate that speed and transfer it over to the bench press. And then they end up bench pressing well over 500 pounds. And the reason behind that is there's a little bit more mobility and stability in that upper back. You learn how to retract, and when you learn how to retract, now when you take that bar off the rack for a bench press, you can be a little bit more dynamic. You can be a little bit more explosive. And now that nervous system is lit up. So if you want to be more explosive with your upper body, let's say you're doing med ball benches, now that speed from catching that behind the neck jerk will carry over really well. Your nervous system learns how to utilize that speed, learns how to utilize that force absorption, and it's gonna help you become a more explosive athlete. I recommend doing behind the neck jerks once or twice a week. Make sure that you have jerk boxes, okay? Be sure, have jerk boxes. You can do 5 to 6 sets for 2 to 4 reps. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we've got the 2 pump snatch. So we're gonna go pump, pump, snatch, okay? And this movement will build the biggest traps you've ever seen, okay? If you can utilize this, your traps will be yoked. And when we're talking about having an explosive upper body, one of those key facets is having effective usage of your traps. It's about having effective usage of your scaps, your rhomboids, everything around that shoulder girdle, right? And so when you're doing that 2 pump, you have to engage your upper back. You have to. okay? Then you're gonna have that eccentric load that's gonna be very heavy. So you might have, if you're a lifter or a thrower who has done these movements in the past, you might have 80, 90, 100 kilos on the bar, and that eccentric is gonna overload your nervous system. It's gonna get your nervous system to fire even more. So then when you come off and you do that snatch, your upper back is lit up, it's awake, it learns how to rotate very quickly. It learns how to stabilize the shoulder girdle. Now you're gonna have co-contractions in your lats with your shoulders, with your delts. Now your shoulder is more stable. When your shoulder learns the skill of the co-contraction that happens from the 2-pump snatch, now, if I'm a wrestler, or if I'm an offensive lineman, or if I'm a basketball player posting up on somebody, or I'm a shot putter, I can train and utilize that co-contraction in my shoulder to provide more power when I'm doing something in that athletic world. So think about a wrestler, they're pummeling with somebody. Now, if they're doing that 2-pump snatch, their upper back is more explosive, their upper back is stronger, and that's gonna help them have a more explosive upper body when they're utilizing these movements inside of their training. I recommend doing 2 pump snatches once a week for 5 sets of 2 pumps and 1 big snatch. Coming in at that number 2 spot, we got a muscle snatch with a slow eccentric. And the first time that I heard about a muscle snatch being utilized to train your upper body was from Charles Poliquin. And he used to say, have some throwers, have some athletes, do just a little bit of a slow eccentric, lower that slowly before you turn it over, okay? So you got some straps on, you're not gonna make hip contact. So we want the load to be a little bit lighter, but as we do that, we rotate. What this does is, one, it teaches our upper back how to externally rotate effectively. So we're gonna be utilizing our entire traps, rhomboids, all around the scap, our lats, shoulders, everything's gonna be working together. We're gonna improve our mobility. So when you can improve your mobility through snatching, through doing muscle snatches, now that opens up your pecs. Now, when your pecs can open up and your upper back opens up, you're lengthening your pecs. Now, when your pecs get more lengthened, they get stronger. Lengthening is strengthening. When your pecs can lengthen a little bit more, they're gonna get stronger. When they get stronger, they get more explosive. Okay, so how does this come into play with the muscle snatch? When we execute a good, strong muscle snatch, if we can lower it slowly, about 1, 2, and then flip it over, a lot of that load gets put onto the triceps and onto the deltoids. And you can see, even oftentimes when Olympic weightlifters might be lowering a jerk, they might be lowering a jerk, and a lot of that is going to be squeezing their abs in coordination with their triceps, in coordination with their shoulders. So now, if we're lowering that, we're gonna learn how to coordinate our gut with our triceps and our shoulders, and we're gonna flip it over. We're gonna overload those triceps. And having explosive triceps is key to the world of sports performance. The stronger and the more explosive my triceps are, the faster I can extend my elbow. Think about a running back throwing a stiff arm. If I can extend rapidly, I can apply a lot of force to my opponent, which helps me manipulate them and move them around with whatever sport I'm trying to do. And so being strong with a muscle snatch, with a 1 to 2 slow eccentric, will lead to that big explosive upper body. I recommend doing muscle snatches 2 days a week, and you could do 4 to 5 sets for 3 to 4 reps. Coming in at that number 1 spot for one of the best Olympic weightlifting variations that you can utilize for an explosive upper body is the behind the neck push press. And I'm gonna tell you a little story. One of the stories that I love behind this is that we've had Sam Mattis, who's a world-class, world finalist in the discus, right? He's a US national champion. He's one of the best discus throwers in the entire world. He's behind the neck push press over 190 kilos for reps. It's very similar to the behind the neck jerk, but a big key factor is there's a longer drive behind the triceps. Now, think about what I've talked about in the past. You learn how to really open up your chest. You learn how to have really good retraction and tension in your thoracic spine. So now you're dipping and you have a very large load that you have to accelerate very rapidly. So now you're coordinating your gut to form this strong foundation. Okay, now we have that gut together, and when we drive long, we're gonna drive as long as we can with our legs, and then our triceps are gonna finish that big drive. So now you're taking 430, 440 pounds, and your triceps are finishing that lockout. Okay, so that takes a lot of recruitment to finish that extension. This is a complicated lift. It takes time. So if you're gonna do this, try to really focus on staying light right off the bat. Learn the movement pattern, learn the technique. On top of that, if you're using lighter weight, what you can do is you can lower slowly. And when you lower slowly, you feel the motor pattern of the eccentric patterning here. So we're gonna have this eccentric muscle action, and then when you come back, you can dip and drive. But if you have that eccentric action, that's also gonna train your triceps, your deltoids, how to recruit together, how to co-contract, and how to be really, really explosive. Now, as you gain strength and over time, if you wanna go really heavy, you can utilize jerk boxes, and you can drive and then drop onto the jerk boxes if you don't wanna have the eccentric portion of the lift. If my throwers or my athletes are utilizing it, we need to peak, right? We're heading into something big, and I want them to go a little bit heavier to stimulate their nervous system, but I don't want them to be overly fatigued. I'll remove the eccentric portion of the push press so that they're a little bit more fresh and they can apply more force into the concentric drive. But if I need them to be fatigued, I'll put that eccentric movement back into the behind the neck push press. The behind the neck push press is gonna help you lock out your bench. It's gonna help you with explosive push-ups. It's gonna help you with medicine ball throws. It's gonna help you be explosive, and that's a key factor behind sports performance. If you need help with understanding and comprehending how to utilize Olympic weightlifting inside of a program, click on the link down below. You can get our free book, our Olympic Weightlifting and Sports Performance book. It's entirely created with a companion course. So if you click on the link down below, you can head over to garagestrength.com. You can pick up our course, and when you purchase that course, you will get a free book, Olympic Weightlifting and Sports Performance. It's gonna help you utilize that course and that book together so that you can have a better grasp on how you can train your athletes to become champions. If you want more information about Olympic weightlifting and sports performance, click on this card right here. Until next time, guys, peace.